Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, Vasyl Lomachenko is an absolute problem. It is Friday immediately after the Vasyl Lomachenko versus Anthony Crolla fight. It's April 12th. I went to the Staples Center in Los Angeles live to attend the fight, and my goodness, what a fantastic idea it was to do that. Now, I'm a big Lomachenko fan, but I'm also a huge boxing head, and I expected this fight to be somewhat more competitive. I actually thought Anthony Crolla was going to go in there, put up a little bit of resistance, maybe last to the 7th or 8th round. I predicted a 7th round stoppage for Vasyl Lomachenko based purely upon Vasyl Lomachenko's immense talent. And I also thought Anthony Crolla would last to the 7th round because even though a lot of you guys might be saying, well, who's Anthony Crolla? He's a nobody. That's actually not the case. This guy is a former world title holder. This guy fought Jorge Linares and gave him a decent fight. It went to a decision. Anthony Crolla is a tough guy. He's been around for a long time. He's had some great experience. And Lomachenko went into the ring tonight and just absolutely toyed with Anthony Crolla until he demolished him. I mean, this was for me by far Lomachenko's most brutal knockout to date. His most brutal finish. The only one that I can compare is the Rocky Martinez stoppage, and I thought that was kind of brutal because he hit Martinez, looked like with a hook, and Martinez kind of fell back and the back of his head sort of snapped into the mat. But this knockout, let me kind of walk you guys through it. So in the 3rd round, Lomachenko pinned Crolla up against the ropes. He was teeing off on him, and the referee, Jack Reese, came in, and we thought in the audience that he waved the fight off and everyone started cheering for Lomachenko. But what happened was his butt was on the ropes. The referee, Jack Reese, thought it was a knockdown because the ropes were holding him up. So he started an 8 count, a standing 8 count for him. So the fight resumed. The bell rang. He survived. Crolla survived to get to the 4th round. In the 4th round, you could see the urgency in Lomachenko. He was just swarming Crolla. He knew he was going to get him out of there. And he was just swarming him with feints and punches and feints and punches. And Crolla, like just, out of sheer confusion, being overwhelmed, he backed up into the ropes. He turtle shelled like this to protect himself. He got hit with a jab or a straight, and then he got nailed with a right cross. Now, the crazy part about the sequence, the finishing sequence was, it was a right hook. The crazy part about the finishing sequence was that right hook. It just looked like a regular right hook. I mean, it looked like he threw it at 50%. And it landed on top of the ear of Anthony Crolla and absolutely put him out. I mean, I'm not talking about a punch that lands, above the ear and knocks out your equilibrium and you fall to the ground, you can't stand up, and you're like a baby deer, tumbling around, stumbling around. No, he landed the punch, knuckleheads. As soon as that punch landed, this man was out and he fell face first into the mat. I mean, it was a brutal finish. It was sort of sad, I must say, because I respect fighters. I respect anybody that goes into the ring to compete, especially a guy like Anthony Crolla, who's been, doing it at a high level for a long time. For him to get toyed with and just dealt with the way Lomachenko dealt with him tonight, in my opinion, that was a career-ending knockout. I mean, you guys, I'm sure you could catch it on YouTube somewhere. He hit him with a I believe it was a straight or a jab, and then he threw a right hook after it. And that right hook, I mean, it didn't even make sense to me because it didn't look that hard. But it's just Lomachenko's fundamentals, his mechanics, everything is so perfect, it's so precise that I'm assuming that even throwing a punch that looks like it's going at 50% is enough to just put somebody out. And I don't think Crolla's ever been finished like that. I mean, he absolutely he went to sleep as soon as the punch landed. So I am beyond impressed with Lomachenko at this point. I think if you're Teofimo Lopez or if you're Gervonta Davis and you're watching this fight and Teofimo was in the audience, you're probably looking at Lomachenko and being like, I don't know. I mean, there got to be some kind of doubts creeping into your head after seeing that performance, because in my opinion, that was the best performance I've ever seen from Vasyl Lomachenko. I mean, this guy is so athletically gifted. I haven't seen anything like this, if I'm being honest, since Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. And if anything, Lomachenko is probably more fundamentally sound. Just as athletic, but more fundamentally sound. And I've always thought that Roy Jones in his prime and maybe Floyd Mayweather are the two best boxers ever. I would say Floyd Mayweather, if I'm being honest. I've always thought Floyd Mayweather is the best or one of the best boxers that I've ever seen. Okay, you might disagree with me, but that's my opinion. I think Floyd Mayweather is one of the best boxers that I've ever seen. But today, watching Lomachenko perform the way he did against a guy who's actually high caliber, if you know anything about boxing, I mean, a decent caliber fighter, and Anthony Crolla, and just absolutely vaporizing him the way he did. I mean, that was brutal. It was brutal to watch. Watching Lomachenko's movement and the way he was setting up his punches and the constant feinting and how much mental pressure he just puts on people with that constant feinting and his athleticism, I just blown away. And I'm convinced that this, 31-year-old Lomachenko, who's still improving, may be the best fighter I've ever seen. So that's my opinion on that, knuckleheads. I'm sure a lot of you are going to be like, this guy's crazy to say Lomachenko's the best fighter he's ever seen. There's no way he's better than Mayweather. There's no way he's better than Leonard. But whatever. This is my opinion. I really think Lomachenko might already be the best fighter that I've ever seen. I got him up there with Floyd. I got him up there with Roy Jones. I got him up there with Andre Ward. This guy's special. If anything, this guy's more fundamentally sound than anyone. And for him to be landing punches like the one he landed tonight and putting people out with them, man, that's just a new wrinkle. That's just a new wrinkle that opponents are not going to be happy to deal with. So let me know what you guys think. Please pick up your Fighters Rep merchandise in the links below and subscribe. Please subscribe. We want to get to at least 1,000 subscribers soon. Check out all the interviews we're doing with our young fighters on our event coming up April 27th, Fighters Rep 6. Thank you guys. We'll talk soon.